Here's a match that could shatter decades of dominance. But will Scotland finally break their 25-year losing streak against England, or are we about to witness another crushing defeat? England versus Scotland live, Women's Rugby World Cup quarter-final battle. Complete TV guide, radio coverage, current scores, team selections, real-time updates. Live match coverage, team lineups match overview. Tune in to BBC One for comprehensive live coverage, plus BBC Radio 5 Sports Extra 2 for audio commentary. Click the Watch and Listen section. Tournament organizers England clash with Scotland at Bristol, battling for a coveted Women's Rugby World Cup semi-final spot. England boasts an incredible winning streak of 30 consecutive victories and dominated Pool A as group leaders. Scotland dreams of making Women's World Cup history by reaching their first ever semi-final after securing second place behind Canada in Pool B. France defeated Ireland 18-13 in today's earlier clash and awaits the victor for semi-final action. Catch the latest reactions here. Join the conversation. Hashtag BBC Rugby. WhatsApp 033012312826. Text 8111. UK residents only. Standard messaging charges apply. Live. Scotland stands virtually no chance of claiming victory in this encounter. Published at 1534 BST. England versus Scotland, 1600 BST. Simon Middleton, former England women head coach, speaking on BBC Two. Zoe Aldcroft's return represents a massive psychological boost for England as they prepare for semi-final action, though I honestly believe Scotland lacks any realistic opportunity to secure victory in this matchup. Seeing Holly Aitchison positioned at fly-half marks a significant decision, suggesting John Mitchell seeks to provide her with valuable playing experience. In semi-final conditions like these, I suspect they would typically opt for Zoe Harrison instead. It remains fascinating to observe whether Aitchison can orchestrate the game according to her vision under these challenging circumstances. Live broadcast begins, published at 1531 BST, England versus Scotland, 1600 BST, BBC One. Comprehensive live coverage has commenced on BBC One. Viewers can also stream this quarterfinal by selecting Watch Live at the page header or through BBC iPlayer. Sarah Orchard, former Scotland international Heather Lockhart, and ex-England captain Katie Daly-McLean provide expert commentary. Radio listeners can access the match through BBC Radio 5, Sports Extra 2, or via the Watch and Listen section on this page. 3. Scotland shows remarkable courage. Published at 1529 BST, England versus Scotland, 16 hours BST. Mike Henson, BBC Sport, reporting from Ashton Gate. How significantly will these weather conditions level the playing field? Historically, Scotland's men successfully exploited challenging conditions to surprise England, though their women's team might find their greatest opportunities by spreading the ball wide to talented players like Rhona Lloyd and Francesca McGee. 4. Scotland's challenging preparation period, published at 1527 BST, England v Scotland, 1600 BST. Scotland became the initial team to secure quarterfinal qualification following their impressive 29-15 victory over Fiji in round 2. This achievement becomes even more remarkable considering this marks their first Women's World Cup knockout appearance since 2002. These developments follow revelations that emerged just months ago, where several players continued experiencing mental and emotional health challenges due to potential contract losses. Brian Eason additionally announced during summer that he would step down from his head coaching position following the tournament. Despite these far from ideal circumstances, Eason's squad has remained undeterred. Could this represent his final match as head coach? 5. Scotland's team selection, published at 1524 BST, England v Scotland, 1600 BST. After previously announcing her retirement from Scotland duty, Christine Belisle makes a stunning comeback with a starting position. The 41 cap prop, joined the squad this Monday following injuries to Ellie Clark and Lisa Cockburn. The 31-year-old Canadian-born player was initially omitted when the extended tournament training squad was selected in late May and seemingly confirmed her international retirement through social media. Her most recent Scotland appearance occurred during October's WXV2 competition. Jade Konkel might be making her farewell appearance, returning to the back row, replacing Rachel McLachlan. The number 8 plans to retire after the tournament concludes, having achieved the historic milestone of becoming Scotland's inaugural contracted professional women's rugby player in 2016. 6. Hosted at 15:22 BST, England v Scotland, 1600 BST. England's squad appeared completely composed and confident during their recent arrival at Ashton Gate. 7. England starting 15, published at 15:20 BST, England v Scotland, 1600 BST. England captain Zoe Aldcroft has successfully recovered from injury to claim her starting blindside flanker position. The 28-year-old hasn't competed since the tournament opener against the United States on August 22 due to a knee injury suffered during that encounter. Fly half Holly Aitchison earns her first World Cup starting opportunity, replacing Zoe Harrison, who moves to the bench. World Player of the Year, Ellie Kildunne, was unfortunately ruled out from quarter-final action after suffering a head injury during last Saturday's Australia victory. The star fullback position goes to Helena Rowland, who delivered an impressive substitute performance, replacing Kildunne against the Wallaroos. Prop Hannah Botterman, despite being a tournament standout, doesn't feature in the matchday squad after departing early against the Wallaroos due to back spasms. Kelsey Clifford, who substituted for Botterman and scored 2 second-half tries, receives a well-deserved starting opportunity. 8. Their most recent encounter, published at 15:17 BST. England v Scotland, 16 BST. England, victorious 59-7 in April's meeting, enters as overwhelming favorites for semi-final progression, having remained unbeaten against Scotland since 1999. Here are highlights from that recent Six Nations clash. 9. Seeking shelter, wearing elevated footwear, published at 15:15 BST. England v Scotland, 16 BST. Mike Henson, BBC Sport, at Ashton Gate. The weather conditions at Ashton Gate mirror Exeter's absolutely dreadful conditions. Even the stilt-walking mascots have retreated to indoor shelter. Definitely conditions demanding long studs on the pitch and premium waterproof gear in the stands. 10. Path to World Cup Final Glory, published at 15:13 BST, England v Scotland, 16 BST. 11. Saturday, Canada dominates Australia 46-5, published at 15:10 BST, England v Scotland, 16 BST. Canada delivered a commanding performance to overwhelm Australia in Bristol, netting 5 first-half tries that essentially decided their quarter-final outcome before halftime. Alicia Corrigan contributed 2 of their 7 total tries as the world's second-ranked team secured their semi-final berth. Having lost to England in their sole World Cup final appearance in 2014, Canada harbors genuine ambitions of matching and potentially exceeding that achievement in the 2025 tournament. 12. Ireland's semi-final dreams crushed, published at 15:07 BST FT. France 18-13 Ireland. Today's Ashton Gate victor will face France in next Saturday's semi-final at the identical venue, September 20th. Les Bleus advanced to the World Cup semi-finals after mounting a spectacular comeback from a 13-0 halftime deficit to defeat Ireland. Ireland possessed a line-out opportunity in the match's final play but couldn't capitalize. Heartbreakingly close. The weather conditions proved significantly worse in Exeter compared to yesterday's New Zealand-South Africa encounter. Follow complete reactions here. 13. Saturday. New Zealand crushes South Africa 46-17, published at 15:06 BST. England versus Scotland, 1600 BST. Yesterday marked South Africa's historic first Women's Rugby World Cup quarter-final appearance, entering their 6-time champion New Zealand clash as massive underdogs. The Springbok women delivered an outstanding first-half display in Exeter to reach halftime level, before the Black Ferns seized complete second-period control. They accumulated 8 total tries, with Braxton Sorensen-McGee, Renee Holmes, and Kaipo Olsen-Baker, each scoring twice. 14. Scotland's last England victory, published at 1503 BST. England v. Scotland, 1600 BST. Decades have passed since Scotland's last England triumph, as England pursues their 28th consecutive victory over their neighboring rivals. Scotland secured an 8-5 victory in the 1998 Home Nations, the Women's Six Nations predecessor, then claimed a 15-13 third-place playoff triumph at Italy's European Championship the following year. Donna Kennedy, Scotland's most capped player, participated in both encounters. "We fielded a tremendously strong, competitive team during that period," she shared with BBC Sport. "However, we remained perpetual underdogs because England consistently excelled at their craft. Even then, they represented the standard to beat." That 1999 mountain encounter in Italy was incredibly tight. It primarily featured an intense forward battle in the pack. I recall it being quite a heated, physical contest. The game has evolved significantly, but back then you could still apply boot pressure and ruck opponents out. 15. The concluding quarterfinal, published at 1500 BST, England vs. Scotland, 1600 BST. England sailed through their pool stage and now confronts Scotland in the Women's Rugby World Cup quarterfinal. John Mitchell's team enters as heavy Bristol favourites, but Scotland, having defeated Wales and Fiji, continues progressing under Brian Eason's guidance. They possess nothing to lose in their first quarter-final since 2002. And this is what makes this encounter absolutely fascinating. But here's where it gets controversial. Will England's 25-year dominance finally crumble under pressure? Or are we witnessing Scotland walking into another inevitable defeat? What do you think? Is this Scotland's moment to shock the rugby world, or will England's superiority prove too overwhelming once again? Share your bold predictions and let's see who dares to back the underdogs.